can be following table, columns, and data. Table, columns, and data. So this is the structured query language. Unstructured query language in the sense audio files and video files, and these are all the things unstructured query languages. So this is a SQL, entire that SQL is the structured query language. That's why we are calling that SQL is a structured query language. So this is not a software name is the SQL. The software name is the Oracle actually. So that Oracle company, they have to be providing database. So that database, it can be following that structured query language. So structured query language in the sense that is having tables and columns and data. So these type of structure, it can be having that query language. Okay, so this SQL, the structure query language, divided into 5 types. So this is the very most important actually. These 5 types, and developers and testers and business intelligence, and they have to be using these follows the this type of structure query language. So these 5 is the very most important whenever you're knowing that SQL database. Definitely you have to know that which one is using in developers, and which one is they have to be using in testers, and BI intelligence, which one is they have to be selecting, and reporting tools purpose also, which one is they have to be using in that structure query language. So first we have to know that which one they have to be selected for the using of that structure query language. This is the very most important um, developing purpose, and the what is that visualization purpose also. The which type of structure query language you have to choose, that is the very most important. The number of things as a structure query language is also available in our market actually. So but definitely you have to know that which one you have to select it. On the interview purpose also, they have to be asking this which type of SQL structure query language you have to using in your project. So this is the very most important. So and that's why first let's you have to start that explanation of that structure query language types. The first one is that DDL. The almost they have to be using, they have to be know that DDL in the sense, this is the definition language data definition language. So this is the commonly they have to be using developers this data definition language. So this data definition language uh, is a is a create and adjust structure of databases and table. So this is the DDL, data definition language you have to using the adjust the structure of the database and tables. So this purpose you have to using data definition language. Actually, the commonly in this data definition language you have to using commands create, alter, drop, truncate, and finally rename. So these type of commands only you have to use in this data definition language. This is the very most important actually. Commonly in interview, one important question is that so create which type of structure query language they have to be asking. So this is the DDL or any type of structure query language they are asking. and alter and drop and truncate. The mainly SQL developers, they have to be continuously using this truncates. They have to be using, and this is the drop also commonly they have to be using, and developers mainly using this create and alter also. So here, which person they have to be using commonly DDL. That is a very most important actually. This type of DDL structure query language, uh, the POC, that uses POC. They are calling the shortly calling that POC. POC in the sense point of contact. Point of contact. So point of contact in the sense to whom to use this DDL. DDL. So this is the point of contact. So here the commonly using this data definition language, developers and DBA. DBA in the sense database admins. Database admins, they have to be using this data definition language. And finally, testers also they have to be using optionally using the this type of DDL. Optionally in the sense why I am using this optionally, senior testers only. Senior testers only, they have to be accessing these commands, create, alter, drop, and truncate and rename. So actually testers only testing the databases, but they are not creating or they are not developing any databases. Only the testers can be testing the database only, but senior testers some of the times and rarely they have to be inserted by the permission, by the taking the permission from the developers and team manager. So from that team manager and the developers, when some of the times they have to be given the permission from that accessing the database. So on the time only the testers only can be accessing these commands, create, alter, drop, and truncate and rename. And this developers mainly commonly it can be using this data definition language commands that developers only continuously it can be using, and some of the times and admins also it can be using. This is a very most important actually. Some of the times in the interview, on the interview, it can be asking that can you using any command of that create, alter, or truncates. They are asking this question. So you are not a developer. You are not a, for example, you are not a team lead. So on the time they are asking in this type of question. So definitely you have to give the answer. We cannot do this type of commands. Why? Because we are not a developer, we are not a team leader. So in that way, in my project actually the developers it can be using this type of um, data definition language commands only. I cannot do this type of commands, just you have to say in this way. So that is the first one is that DDL, and second one DML. DML in the sense data manipulation language. This is the very most important in another type of structure query language. Actually, is used to load data into the table, and this type of in this DML commands insert, update, and delete. So these type of commands you have to using in DML, data manipulation language. Actually, in commonly they have to be using this insert, update, and delete. So this type of data manipulation land commonly using uh, point of contact, developers, and DBA senior testers. Optionally, optionally they have to be using um, developers and database administrators, DBA in the sense, and previous already we are already given a definition, database administrator and senior tester, and here also it can be using that DMS. So not a BA and testers and regularly they cannot be accessing this type of commands, data manipulation language. So here load the data. So that data loading purpose, they have to be using different type of tools. For example, um, that data loading purpose, in developer they have to be developing the tables, some of the tables. So that table from the source to target loading purpose. The loading in the sense which place you have to load. The testers cannot be load the data, and developers only developing the data in the sense structure query languages in the sense tables only. So that table, whenever it can be created, that tables, so the table it can be load to target place. So on the time only it can be using insert, update, and delete. So if it is unnecessary data, it can be there in our data or in our tables. So just we have to use that delete. If you want increment the table, increment in the sense already data having in that table. So the data increments additional data you have to insert in your table. So in that purpose only you have to um, use the update command and insert in the sense you don't have the data in your table. So in the on that purpose only you have to insert the data. So insert, um, which place you want to use that insert in the sense your data is empty, you don't have any data. So on the time you have only table only, so you don't have any data. So on the time only you have to use this insert command. So already you have the data, so that data you have to increment. So on that purpose only you have to use that update. Delete command, already you have the data in your table, so that data, some of the data you have to delete. That purpose only you have to use that delete. So these commands are entire these commands developers only they have to be using. Why? Because they are developers. Database administrators also some of the times they have to be using or they have to be accessing these type of commands. And testers, tester in the sense not a what is it, beginners. So only senior testers only. So um, how can you call that senior testers? Senior testers in the sense up to 5 years experience holders, senior testers. So they are leading the team. Those persons only they have to be accessing insert, update, and delete. Clear? Clear, Lakshman?
Yeah, clear.
Yes, right. And third one, DRL. This is the very most important actually. DRL. So DRL and DQL. So those names they have to be accessing. DRL in the sense data retrieve languages. Language. DQL in the sense data query language. So this is the definition. This is very most important in your SQL. DRL, the data retrieving. So testers and business intelligence and reporting. Those persons, they have to be commonly using this DRL, data retrieve. So this data retrieve is the very most important in our usage in purpose. Actually, this data retrieving language is used read table, read and display the records. So this purpose only you have to use this DRL. Why? Because developers, whenever it is completed from the developing table, then that testers and BI intelligence, business intelligence, and reporting persons, they have to be reading the from the table. So and so how much of records it can be there in our table or in our data. So that is the very most important actually. These are all commonly using command select select option only. So here POC in the sense point of contact. So this POC commonly using testers, developers, and DBA. DBA using optionally only using this command data retrieving language. 100% this testers 100% this testers only it can be accessing this data retrieval language. So why? Because the developer developing the data it can be transfer successfully transfer, or what it can be inserted in data from our table, so that testing purpose it can be using this data retrieval language. And business intelligence and reporting um, reporting purpose also. So whenever you completing the testing, then it can be sending that business intelligence stage. So that business intelligence, so how much of data it can be successfully loaded from the target. So that purpose, that checking purpose or the testing purpose also, it can be using this data retrieving language. So here you have to using without the using of the select command, you cannot be accessing, you cannot be select from any table or any data. So commonly each and every person they have to be choosing this select from the completed of updating or inserting, deleting. Those are all commands in the sense that is the DML commands, data manipulation. When you completed from that data manipulation commands, then definitely those persons they can be access DRL, data retrieval language. This is the very most important actually. Without that data accessing purpose, without the using of that select command, you cannot be access, you cannot be select, you cannot be do anything. So that's why this is the very most important actually DRL type of structure query language command. Okay, this is a DRL. And actually here this type of commands actually uh, testers 100% they have to be using this DRL. And BI reports also they have to be using. And developers is commonly it can be using. And database administrators and optionally it can be accessing this type of DRLs. And fourth one DCL. So DCL in the sense data control language. data control language. So this data control language is grant. Grant in the sense, some of the persons they cannot be understand this grant word. So grant in the sense providing access, providing access, and revoke. So actually, grant, revoke, these are all the technical words. So from that interview, if they are asking any data control in your data control language purpose, what type of commands you have to use, for suppose they are asking this type of question, for example. So on the time, this data control language purpose, we have to use grant and revoke. This type of technical words you have to use. You have to remember these technical words. In that purpose, you cannot be used the providing of access and access withdrawing. And this purpose, you have to use this data control languages. Don't say like that. If you say like that, they are questioning or they are thinking you are like a fresher. You are not a experienced person. Why? Because you are not using any technical words. So in that way, you should be remember this technical words, grant, revoke. Revoke in the sense, revoke, withdraw, revoke, withdraw. So, revoke, withdraw. So this type of things it can be using the from the DCL. Okay, and this POC, POC in the sense point of contact. So here, database administrator and developers. Developers optionally developers optionally accessing this DCL. Clear? And this is rarely accessing this DCL. So just for permission purpose, it can be used from the using of this DCL. So and fifth one is the TCL. TCL in the sense transaction control language. Transaction control language. So this type of transaction control language is manipulating manipulating transfer the data into the table. So this purpose only you have to use this transactional control language. So from this TCL accessing purpose, you have to use some of the commands, main commands, saving and save point, and finally rollback. So these type of commands you have to use TCL. Actually, in this TCL POC, data business administrators, DBA in the sense, and developers, they have to be using this TCL, transaction control languages. So these are all the type of SQL languages. First of all, you have to definitely you have to know the these type of which command it can be following and that structured query language. So that is the main point actually. First of all, you have to know that which command it can be dedicated to DML or DDL, and DRL and DCL and TCL. And commonly you have to, and each and every person commonly they have to be using in some of the commands, but that command where it is following that structure query languages, DML or DDL or DCL or TCL, which one it can be following that command. It they doesn't know that type of information actually. So that interview persons also definitely they are asking that can you explain about the DDL? So on the time you have to use create, alter, and drop and truncate and rename from my project. So that commands definitely you have to know that. For example, in that point, you don't use those are all the commands, but you have to know that this command in following in that DDL, a structure query language. So and inset is for example on the interview person. Can you tell me about that DML or DDL? Can you using in your project? Yes, if you developer, then definitely you have to say, yes, in my project I have to using in DDL commands also. Don't like that. They are whenever they are asking, can you using in your project and some of the commands, can you tell that? Yes, on the time you cannot say create, alter, drop, truncates, and renames. On these are all things I have to using from my project. Don't say like that. Just you have to say in shortly DDL commands I have to using from my project. So when you're using that technical words, that person they have to be understand. You are a experienced person. You are a following and this type of technical terms and terminology. So that person, that interview person, they should be impressed from your interview. So that is the main thing actually. These are all the commands you definitely you have to know. So here first let's discuss about that DDL. DDL. So DDL purpose you have to use that create command. Create command. So commonly you have to use it. So in this purpose, this you have to discuss about that syntax. Um, Sorry, I am asking. I am not confirming to you. These five type of SQLs. Did you understand any doubt from this SQL types, Lakshman?
No, 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 not I have I understood.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Good. So here the create purpose, this create command from the following that DDL as structure query languages. This syntax purpose you have to use create table. Create table. Create is the command. Table is the name, and then you have to follow the open bracket, and then and here and some of the parameters you have to use. Just you have to call that parameters. Okay, the here column name one, column name one. Okay, give the space and data type, and here you have to use P and S. You have to use and give the comma, and again column name. Already we are already given a explanation of that table structure. Structure here you have to using the data types, different type of data types, and in future you have to discuss about that data types also. And here you have to discuss only how to create the table. So here you have to using and previous also I have to given the information structure query language. So that structure in the sense columns here first before the creating of the column you have to create the table, then you have to create the columns, and whenever it is completed that table and columns, then you have to insert the data. So and that's why the creating purpose, they table create table inserting purpose or table creating purpose, you have to using the command of that create and name table name. So without the creating of that table, you cannot be create the any column. So in that's why first you have to create the table and open the bracket and column. You have to create the column, and that column, what type of data you have to using from that column, that data type is the very most important in that way. And here also you have to using that data type, and this is the column 2, column 2, and data type, and column name 3, and data type. So commonly you have to use a number of columns. How many columns you have to insert it in your database, in the sense n number of columns you have to use, and that's why. And here uh, column name, n number of columns you have to insert the data and data types. And finally, whenever you created that columns, and finally close the bracket and you have to use the semicolon. So whenever you giving the semicolon, then it is a completed from your command for the creating of table. So that SQL, it can be understanding like that. So this is the syntax of um, create. Create, it can be follows to DDL. So here that commanding purpose, just you like that